The Louisville Cardinals know a thing or two about winning championships, in basketball that is, but do the Cardinals have the talent and the schedule to disrupt the BCS party? To answer that question, we bring in our managing editor, Pete Futak, and let's cut right to the chase here. Looking at Louisville's schedule, this is a team that should go undefeated in the new American Athletic. Is there any way an undefeated Louisville team does not get invited to a national championship game over a one-loss team from a Big 12, Pac-12?
You know, it's going to be one of the fun storylines of the season. We'll get into the schedule in a moment, but that's it. They earned their street cred with that win over Florida in the Sugar Bowl. That's the one where people are going to look back and say, okay, the schedule might not be the best, but they showed that, yes, they can rise up and beat a team that's national title good like Florida was last year, and maybe they'll get past this. But they've got to rock through this schedule. They can't just win by squeakers like they did at times last year. They got to be crushing and killing everything in their path. They've got to make voters want to vote for them in the BCS. So, yes, I think they can absolutely do this. I think they can get past anybody if they go undefeated, but they've got to be dominant. They've got to look good doing it.
Another prize being mentioned with the Cardinals this year is the Heisman Trophy. Teddy Bridgewater returns from a season where he threw over 4,000 yards, nearly got there, 27 touchdowns. So handicap his chances of winning the Heisman.
0. Cardinal fans don't like this because there's a difference between winning the Heisman and being really good. Remember, Andrew Luck didn't win a Heisman. To win a Heisman, you have to have just ridiculous stats. Bridgewater isn't going to really have that. He's going to be ultra efficient, ultra effective, kind of in a Kellen Moore sort of way, but he's not going to throw for a bazillion yards and rush for a ton of touchdowns. And you have to have a signature moment. You have to be RG3 against Oklahoma. You've got to be Johnny Manziel against Alabama. And on this schedule, where's that signature moment going to come from? Against Kentucky? Against Rutgers? He just doesn't have that big game. So he's not going to win the Heisman, but he might have to settle for being the first pick in the draft next year.
Oh, that's not a bad consolation prize. So let's look at the Cardinals here as a whole. 19 starters returning, a victory over Florida in the Sugar Bowl on the resume. So if this team is going to fall short of expectations, what will the reason be?
The special teams have got to be better. They're not going to blow everybody out of the water. They do have some tough games, even on a relatively light American Athletic schedule. Cincinnati is going to be difficult. Rutgers is going to be difficult. There's going to be times where they're going to need to win close games. Their kicking game was awful last year. Their return game didn't get the job done. The coverage teams didn't get the job done. They're going to have to be better in that third phase to get through a schedule and go 12-0.
Louisville plays a relatively easy schedule, I would think, in the conference, right? Rival Kentucky's on the road in Lexington. So will the Cardinals go undefeated?
Yeah, you got a lot of SEC teams out there looking at this slate being like, come on, really? Okay, so their big game that they got to get by is Kentucky. That's their difficult non-conference game they got to deal with. I mean, Ohio to start the season, it's a little bit quirky, but come on. If you're talking about BCS, you got to beat Ohio. You got to beat Eastern Kentucky. Florida International, I mean, Temple. They get Rutgers at home. They get UCF at home. Going to South Florida could be a little tricky, but again, if we're talking about a team that's national title good, you got to rock through that game. I think they get to 11-0, and at the end of the year, they go to Cincinnati, and that's where they fall.
Ooh, Tommy Tuberville gets a big upset against Louisville. All right, Pete, thanks very much. For more previews, articles, and videos on every FBS team, check out the videos on the one and only CampusInsiders.com.